never thought I'd be the man who'd betray his family on his son's wedding day. My name's Robert, and this is my confession, raw and unfiltered, a story of desire so fierce it tore through my soul and left me in ruins. If you're watching, you're already hooked, drawn to a sin that feels like fire until it's a chain around your heart. This isn't about love or redemption, it's about hunger, the kind that blinds you and begs you to fall. Stay with me, because this one's going to burn. It's a tale of champagne lust and a betrayal I can't undo. It was a radiant June evening in Charleston, South Carolina, the air thick with jasmine and celebration. I was 55, married to Diane, a woman whose steady love had carried us through decades, but our spark had faded into routine. That night, we were at my son Michael's wedding, held in a grand plantation house, its gardens blooming under twinkling lights. The bride Anna was radiant, but it was her bridesmaid Tessa who caught my eye, a 28-year-old friend of Anna's, vibrant and dangerous like a storm wrapped in silk. Tessa was all fire, her burgundy dress clinging to curves that made the room feel smaller, her auburn hair cascading over bare shoulders. I was helping with the bar, pouring champagne, when her eyes, blue and bold, locked on mine. "You're too serious for a wedding, Robert," she said, her voice low, teasing like she saw through my polished exterior. My wedding ring glinted a warning. I ignored my pulse racing as she leaned closer, her perfume jasmine and spice hitting me like a spark. The plantation house was alive, the band playing, guests dancing under chandeliers. Diane was across the room laughing with relatives, her presence a comfort I took for granted. I told myself to focus, to be the father of the groom, but Tessa's gaze held me, her smile a dare. She brushed past me, her arm grazing mine, the touch light but electric. My breath caught my skin, flushing in the warm night. I should have walked away, rejoined Diane, but the champagne, the music, Tessa's heat, it was too much. "You're married," she said, glancing at my ring, her tone more challenge than judgment. I nodded, my throat tight, my mind screaming to stop. "Does she make you feel alive?" she asked, stepping closer, her dress catching the chandelier's glow, outlining every curve. The question was a match, igniting a fire I'd buried for years. I didn't answer, but my silence was a confession. Her smile was slow, dangerous, like she'd already claimed me. The dance floor pulsed, the guests a blur, the night alive with possibility. Tessa's hand grazed my wrist, her fingers warm against my skin, a spark that set my nerves alight. My heart pounded a traitor as her eyes held mine, daring me to fall. "Tell me to stop," she whispered, her lips inches from mine, her scent pulling me under. I didn't. My hands found her waist, the silk soft under my fingers, her body pressing closer. The music swelled, the lights dimmed, and I was already lost. Her kiss was a collision, fierce and hungry, tasting of champagne and sin. My hand slid up her back, pulling her against me, the garden wall behind us, cold and unyielding. The band played on, the guests oblivious, as her lips moved to my neck, her teeth grazing each bite, a pulse of pleasure and pain. I was drowning, and Tessa was the tide pulling me deeper into a sea of want. The wedding was a world away, its joy fading, leaving only her heat, her hunger. Her kiss was a wildfire burning through every thought of Diane. Tessa's hands were bold, tugging at my tie, her nails grazing my skin through my shirt. The garden was a haze, the twinkling lights casting shadows that danced like demons. My hands roamed her waist, the burgundy silk slipping under my fingers, revealing smooth skin that burned under my touch. The band's music pulsed a rhythm that matched my racing heart. Her lips were everywhere, my jaw, my throat, each kiss a claim, each touch a vow broken. I pulled her into a secluded arbor, the vines shielding us from the wedding's glow. Her dress was a tease, the silk riding up as she pressed against me, exposing thighs that made my breath catch. My hands slid lower, tracing her hips, her gasps sharp in the humid air. The guilt was there, sharp and cold, but it only fueled the fire, made every touch more desperate, more dangerous. Her hands were on my chest now, unbuttoning my shirt, her nails leaving trails of fire on my skin. The arbor was our world, the wedding's laughter a distant hum. I lifted her against a wooden trellis, her legs wrapping around me, the silk dress bunching at her waist, revealing lace that drove me wild. Her lips found mine again, hungry, demanding tasting of champagne and want. My hands slid under her dress, her skin warm and soft, her breath hitching as my fingers found her. The music was a faint pulse, the night alive with our heat, our sin. Robert. She murmured my name, a spell pulling me deeper. Her fingers tangled in my hair, her body arching into mine, a demand I couldn't resist. The twinkling lights flickered their glow, painting us in gold and shadow, turning our sin into something almost beautiful. But it wasn't. It was raw, desperate, a collision of need and guilt. My hands gripped her thighs, her lace a barrier. I wanted to tear away the pleasure, building a storm of its own. When it happened, it was a collision, a wave crashing over me. Her cries were sharp, muffled by the vines, my hands holding her tight, our bodies moving as one. The pleasure was fierce, overwhelming, edged with the guilt I couldn't outrun. The wedding's music played on, a cruel reminder of the world we were betraying. The arbor watched silent as we crossed a line I'd never meant to touch. It was everything, every ache, every want, every secret I'd buried. Afterward, we stayed there, tangled, breathless, the air heavy with the scent of jasmine and us. Tessa's hair spilled across my chest, her fingers tracing my jaw, her eyes half closed with satisfaction. The guilt crashed in a tidal wave, but her warmth held it at bay, a lie I wanted to believe. "This can't happen again," I said, my voice rough, unconvincing. She laughed low and wicked, her lips brushing my ear. "You don't mean that," she said, and damn her, she was right. The wedding's glow faded, but the weight of what I'd done lingered heavy as the Charleston night. I returned to the party, my tie straightened, my heart pounding. Diane was dancing with Michael, her smile warm, trusting, a knife in my chest. I joined her, my hand on her back, but it felt like a lie, my fingers still burning with Tessa's touch. I wanted to confess, to beg for forgiveness, but the words choked me. The band played on, the guests unaware, but Tessa's scent, jasmine and spice, clung to me, a ghost I couldn't banish. I saw her again across the dance floor, her burgundy dress catching the light, her eyes finding mine. She didn't approach, just smiled, a secret shared in a glance. The next day she texted midnight. "The carriage house." I told myself I wouldn't go. But the night found me there, the rain starting to fall, her silhouette waiting in the dark. The carriage house was warm, the air thick with dust and desire, her dress discarded on the floor, her lace glowing in the lamplight. Her kiss was fiercer now, desperate, her hands tearing at my jacket, my shirt. My hands roamed her body, greedy, memorizing every curve, every shudder. The rain pounded the roof, drowning out the world, leaving only her heat, her hunger. Her nails raked my back, her gasps sharp, the pleasure raw, edged with pain. The guilt was a constant now, a shadow I couldn't shake, but it only made her touch more addictive, more dangerous. Diane grew suspicious. "You're distant, Robert," she said one night, her hand on mine, her eyes searching for the man she married. I froze, her touch so different from Tessa's, gentle where Tessa was wild. Just tired, I lied, my voice tight, my mind flashing to the carriage house, Tessa's lips on my skin. Diane's frown deepened, her fingers brushing my ring, and I thought she saw the truth. "I love you," she said, and the words were a weight crushing me. Tessa pushed harder. "Leave her," she said, her voice sharp, her hands gripping my shoulders in the carriage house, the lamplight casting shadows across her face. Leave Diane burn my life for a woman who thrived on chaos. The idea was madness, but for a moment I saw it a life with Tessa, wild and free. Then Diane's face flashed in my mind, her trust, her love, and I pulled away shaking. I told Tessa it was over. She stood in the carriage house, her eyes blazing, her dress clinging to her sweat-slicked skin. "You'll always want me," she said, her voice a promise, a threat. She left a hairpin behind burgundy like her dress, her perfume clinging to it, tucked into my pocket. I should have thrown it away, but I kept it hidden in my desk, a secret that burned. The Charleston rain lingered, and so did my hunger, a fire I couldn't extinguish. Diane grew quieter, her questions sharper. "Whose perfume is this?" she asked one night, holding my jacket, her voice trembling. I lied, said it was a guest's, but her eyes saw through me. She didn't push, just walked away, the silence louder than any scream. I tried to be the husband she deserved, helping with the dishes, holding her tighter, but Tessa's face was there in every shadow, every dream. One last time I saw her. A post-wedding brunch, the plantation house still festive. Tessa serving mimosas, her eyes locked on mine. She pulled me into a pantry, her lips on mine, her hands tearing at my shirt. The silk fell away, her touch fierce, desperate, the room spinning with our heat. My cries were sharp, drowned by the clink of glasses outside, the pleasure raw, edged with pain. The guilt was a spotlight burning through me, but I couldn't stop. It ended with the discovery. Diane found the hairpin, her voice breaking as she held it up. "Who is she, Robert?" she asked, her eyes wet, her hands shaking. I couldn't lie anymore. I told her everything, the words spilling like blood, each one a wound. She left, the door closing softly, the silence deafening. Michael called, his voice cold, saying Anna had seen us in the garden. Her trust shattered too. I was alone, the hairpin in my hand. Tessa's scent, a ghost I'd never escape. This is my story, a warning to anyone who thinks they can dance with fire and not get burned. If you've watched this far, you know that hunger, that ache for what you shouldn't want. So hit that subscribe button, drop a comment, call me a fool, a sinner, or just a man who fell. Like the video or don't, but share it with someone who's felt temptation's sting. Check out my other stories. They're just as raw, just as real. Ever been seduced by a forbidden glance? Spill your secrets below. I'm listening, and I've been there.